Guys, my name is Kyle. I recently applied this last summer, and I'm going to Rutgers, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Wilfredo?
Hey guys, my name is Wilfredo. I also applied to Cycle and I'll be going to Nova.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen, and we're just going to go through the AdSAS itself. Let's see. All right, can everyone see my screen?
Looks good, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So this is the AdSAS website. This is the front page. We're just gonna like go through it. First things first, though, we're gonna kind of structure this basically. I'm going to show you all the stuff on the actual website and what we see, like as demos, pre-dental students. And then we're going to transition over. I'm going to show you guys my actual application that I submitted to Rutgers. And we're going to go off that kind of like as a template. Obviously, little disclaimer, I'm not like the perfect applicant. No one is. So, there's going to be some flaws. And my application is nowhere near perfect. I'm just like kind of throwing that out there. But yeah. So first things first, you have personal information, academic history, supporting information, program materials. You always start with personal information, just the same old, all this good stuff. The only thing I would kind of like recommend here is the how COVID-19 affected you. And basically, sorry, I have dogs in the background. Hold on 2 seconds.
I could take over for here. So this page basically just shows like mostly like your background information. And when he scrolls down, you guys will see they made a section for COVID impact, which is where you guys can talk about how it affected you. But you don't want to. You want to make sure that you don't say something that's like negative, like oh, COVID, because of COVID, I wasn't able to shadow or I wasn't able to do this. You always want to kind of give like a positive spin into it. So like, because everybody's going through it, everybody's facing these hard times. So when he goes down, we have an example. Basically, I said that I at first it was difficult transitioning to online courses, but I adapted and I tried to do like online shadowing, dental shadowers, and basically just stay active even though I couldn't go out, in person. Um, there's other things that we mentioned on there. So yeah, adapting through Zoom. And also you can mention stuff about your household if you actually had a problem or something that happened that actually affected you and you couldn't take your DT or you had to reschedule. You also can mention that. Um,
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, right. Sorry about that, but yeah, exactly. With this part though, I was reading some stuff like beforehand before I submitted. Basically, they want you to like they don't want you obviously, but like don't oh, online classes were annoying, so it was hard for me to adjust. Like everyone had to go through the same exact thing. So it's really important to like not you just we live in a brand new world, so everyone had to like adapt to it basically. So you don't want to say like, oh, I hate online classes or whatever. Like you kind of have to just stick with it. Like there's nothing you can really do about it. So you complaining about it is not a good like thing on here to put. There's actual people that are like really going through it, like their family is just like in shambles. Like it's tough that people are struggling. You know what I mean? So it's so yeah, that this section's like I personally I didn't have anything to do like with that. Like I didn't have like any troubles or anything like that, luckily. But at the end of the day, you just want to make sure that you're like positive with the section. And I know STN, there was like a little article on there saying like what to put, what not to put, and I kind of went off that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. So yeah, the manual dexterity section. So personally, I build PCs. I threw that in the mix. I love it. It's fun, and I kind of like correlated that and playing video games, like hand-eye coordination, to manual dexterity. I also play the clarinet, so that was cool. So just like little stuff, 600 characters on this one.
oh yeah, to add to that, so you guys don't have to like use all the characters, but try to put in as much as you can. So you see, he almost went to 600 now, 591 characters. I would recommend to not leave it blank. Unless
You definitely don't leave anything blank, like for sure. Definitely not. I agree. But yeah, like you don't want to like expand on it like to the point where it's dilute and
his
you could
voice,
just
yeah.
tell like it's really just like a lot of filler words just trying to get to the 600. Like if it's a short thing that you have to say, that's a short thing, that's all it is. Yeah. So now the next section. So we just went over the personal information. There again, this is nothing really, just the ordinary stuff like release statement. You just have to, agree, whatever. Biographic information, where do you live, contact, parents, family members, stuff like that. Citizenship, environmental factors, parent, guardian, race, ethnicity. So that's pretty much it for that part. The next part is the academic history. Again, I'll show you guys later on when I'm actually showing my actual application for markers, and we can kind of just go over that. But basically, you just want to make sure that everything is 100% here. I can't really do anything here, so that's why we're going to do it on my actual application. It's a PDF, but I can't really show anything here because
Try clicking preview. Let me see if it pops up right now.
Okay, there we go. But again, this stuff is already on the other stuff. But basically, you just want to make sure everything's accurate and stuff like that. So I kind of talk about this later on too. Like I had like a little rough start or whatever, and had some C's. But as long as you just like make up for it at the end of the day, have a nice upward trend, you're good to go. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, everything here, you just want to make sure that everything's inputted correctly. You can easily do this by going to my.fiu.edu. Just log in, then you would go to, hold on, I have this right here. You would go to my.fiu.edu, then academic records, and then course history and start from the bottom. And then that would be from when you started to like where you're at right now. So you could just literally just sequence, boom, everything. That's pretty much it for this part. So that's academic history, all that good stuff. Standardized tests here. So I took the DAT twice personally. The first score I had was in 1920, and the second score I had at 2223. So my first attempt here, I had it. I applied with my first score. So, but I still indicated that I was going to retake it by, just adding a test score. So I guess I got to add it here. So you would just do add your tests, USDAT. And then when you plan on taking it, I planned on taking it July 31st. I put that originally in here, but I ended up postponing it to August 20th. And you can always go back and change it, so on and so forth. So you're good to go with that. So yeah. And again, guys, if you guys have any questions, like put in the chat. Oh, I see the chat's kind of going off. Hold on, music.
Yeah, I'm answering on the chat.
Okay, cool. But yeah, obviously USDAT, we're not in Canada. I would say like Canadian DAT, unless you are. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this part. So that's academic history. Then supporting information. Again, so we'll go over experiences in depth. I'll show you exactly what I put on my experiences, so on and so forth. Personal statement, we have a personal statement workshop coming up too, so I'm not going to go like too into depth with my actual personal statement. But evaluations, you have 4 slots on here. However, the committee packet that you get through the pre-health office counts as 3 slots. So you only have 1 left after that if you decide to go through the committee. The good thing about the committee packet is though, like you can put as many letters of rec, whatever you want in there. Like I had a total, I think, of like 4 or 5 letters of rec in my actual packet. So that kind of benefited me because, I was able to like, capitalize on that because this already takes 3. If you get more than 3 on there, that's cool. If you get 3, perfect, it balances out. But the more that you can put on the committee packet, the better. I know a lot of you guys are taking Dr. Rodriguez for biochem or microbiome. I took it for both and I got an A in both, and she did, a nice letter recommendation. I didn't see it obviously, but you know, I hope it's good. But yeah, so she can, you know, if you establish a good connection with her, like this was spring 2020 when I took it with her, and you know, it was in person. So I'm not, as long as you show face through Zoom nowadays, you know, just kind of like go to office hours, participate, you know, you should be fine and do well in the course, obviously. But yeah,
Yeah, real quick,
that's pretty
Kyle,
much
can
it.
you try to zoom in on your PC?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like better on the Zoom. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, bye. Is this good? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it looks
Okay,
good now.
bye. Um, so experiences, I can't go over them now, but we'll go over them in depth once I have my actual downloaded or whatever. So this would be here. You just input them. You have most important here. So you have 6 options that you can star as like the most important. So I chose my shadowing, of course. I used to work in a lab at the Biscayne Bay campus, and I used to work at Bath and Body Works. um, and then I used to shadow another dentist, my actual dentist that like got me into dentistry, Dr. Casella. And I used to be a lifeguard when I was 16. That was a big one. And community service. I did like over 3,000 hours here. So that part is that. Achievements, I don't have a lot. We did the UPenn course, right? We did the UPenn. I was one of the most active members of Pre-Dental Society, so you can definitely put that in there. So I know this is Pre-Dental Society. You guys can definitely get in the mix on this one. And then I was elected CSO representative. This was before, so I wasn't able to add CSO representative at the time as an experience because I didn't have any experiences yet. Like I was just only elected as the CSO representative. So for those applying for eBoard this semester, you guys can do the same thing. With Dean's List, they don't want you to like see like I've had Dean's List multiple times, but they want you to condense it into one instead of putting like 5 different Dean's Lists. You know, it kind of just looks like a filler. So you want to just do that. And this was 4 out of 4. Luckily, I had 4 out of 4, so I'm good to get. Licenses. I used to be a lifeguard, so I have the lifeguard license. We'll pull that up. This is it there. It was a struggle trying to find that, but. And then I was also a referee, a soccer referee. So that was just here. It's loading. And the same thing. So. And then obviously the personal statement, but we're gonna go over that in the actual personal statement workshop. All right, and then supporting information we just went over. This is program materials. So I applied to a total of 15 schools. Initially it was 14, but then I applied to Columbia right when we had the dental student Q&A in October. So I applied really late to Columbia. It was in October. But yeah, so these are the places I applied to, and we'll go over that next, I guess. I see the chat's blowing up. Hold on. What's going on?
So in regards to would it be bad to not have a non-science? I wouldn't say it would be bad. You definitely want to have like 2 science letters and maybe like one from your dentist. Um, you can also have like if you don't have a science professor that you took recently, you can have like a mentor or somebody that's close to you write a letter for you. Um, I had to hunt down my English teacher from BBC like 4 years ago. I hadn't talked to her in forever, so like I had to like get in contact with him. But for me, it was my English teacher from when I was like still in dual enrollment in high school.
Yeah, like it was really funny. Like in the summer, like Wilfredo, he didn't have a non-science, so like we went through his BC transcripts, and we just like got everyone's name. We found their email. He was just like sending out like mass emails, like just sending it to whoever would respond. Like it was funny because like I don't know, like no one responds. Like no one responds to emails. So another like just note and just like recommendation, just be proactive. For sure, like it's huge. Math counts as no math is
It's science.
science. Yeah, math is science. So statistics, algebra, calculus, pre-cal, that's all science. The only thing that kind of like surprised me with science is the psychology. It doesn't count as science. So sociology and psychology don't count as science. Those are non-science instead. But yeah.
Can you have, instead of a non-science, put two dentists to write you a letter, or is it better like just to do it by like non-science, science, dentist?
So the thing about this though is, so for committee, are we talking about like just in general or the committee review? Because for committee review, you have to have a non-science lecture, like a non-science professor, like from a class. You know what I mean? So like my non-science was nonverbal communication, so I used that one. But a lot of people like, did I answer the question or?
Oh no, I was talking about committee letter, but I guess general.
Okay,
Right.
so in general, I think definitely having a dentist letter of recommendation is really good. It looks really good. I know some schools actually require it. I think Detroit Mercy actually requires you to have a dentist letter recommendation. So yeah, but the committee itself, they don't require a dentist letter recommendation. It's just a non-science and two science letters of recommendation for them.
Thank you.
Mhm. So yeah. Okay, so we'll go over this stuff
Right. Yeah,
too.
and I was gonna add to that and say that usually, like most schools require you to have two science, um, one non-science, and then one from your dentist. That's like the most usual thing to have. It can vary, but you really want to like make sure that you look into the schools that you're interested in and see what they require. And if you're not sure, you can contact their admissions office and you know speak to them and say, hey, can I have two letters from different dentists because I don't have a non-science, for example, and see what they say. They'll tell you specifically if it's good for that school.
Right. And I see here, so, but would it be bad to not have a non-science? So it depends on like, I mean, no, not at all. I mean, if you want committee, they require a non-science, but if you just want, you don't have to have a non-science if you don't want to. I mean, some schools, I think Nova said liberal arts or something like that, but it was kind of, that's kind of up for interpretation.
You guys submit
Um,
your dental letter of rec through the committee, or did you guys submit it independently in the application?
so for me personally, let's open my note. Oh, that's actually another thing I wanted to bring up. So that's a good question. So for me, my committee interview was June 20th or something like that. I didn't submit my actual application until July 16th. So mid-July is when I actually hit I paid, hit submit, whatever. So the committee, I wasn't able to actually upload my dentist letter of recommendation here. Instead, I had my dentist send the letter of rec that he wrote me to the dental schools that I applied to, and actually I want to bring it up too. And if any of you guys are on the same like predicament, I don't know why I can't share that. That's weird. Why did it go back? So for this one, I kind of like just like made it nice and simple for him. So just boom, here. He just puts a subject, email, whatever, dentist letter recommendation, dear name of recipient, boom, name of recipient. He knew a few people, so Nova, he knew a guy, so he sent it. I said send to who you know. UNC, he knew a guy, and the rest, I just made it really nice and simple for him because it was like right when offices started to like reopen, so I felt bad just like kind of making him work harder. So I just made this like nice little easy chart. I provided the email, etc. You know what I mean? So that was good. But I think I'm on a tangent. I think your question was the dentist letter, right? But so yeah, I couldn't add it to here, and I couldn't add it to the actual committee packet. So I just had him email it out, if that makes sense.
Right, and then there's a spot right there at the bottom for your personal statement. You would just copy it into there, and yeah, you can send the letters directly to the school and to the to the admissions committee of the schools, as well as other information, but I would recommend to just do it through AdSense because they get it all in one place and they don't have to like wait. Because like let's say you submit, you only have like 2 letters on your AdSense or something, and you're missing 2, and sometimes they require like a certain amount, so they won't go on until they have like all your letters. So if you submit it, like, if you send it to them like by email, they have to like get your packet, the AdSense, and get your letter, and then like once they have everything together, like put it together in a file, they will go on with the application. So it would just slow it down.
That's another thing too. Some schools don't accept letters of recommendation outside of the AdSense. So that's like another problem I kind of encountered. So I think it was I don't know what school specifically. I think it was Louisiana, LSU. I applied there and I had my dentist send a letter of recommendation to him or to them or whatever. And they were like, you know, if it's outside of the AdSense, we don't accept it. Same thing with UIC, the University of Illinois at Chicago. Like they were just not having it. So if you're in a predicament like that, it's just in my situation, it was tough luck because this was already complete, the committee packet, and Dr. Rodriguez already submitted her letter of rec here. So you know, there's something you can do. One cheeky thing you can kind of do though. So there's 4 slots, and if you're requesting, you can say that this is committee, right? You can say this is committee. But you can also say it's individual, and then you'd have 3 other slots. I talked to an AdSense representative, and he said it could work. But again, I would just like do your research. That's just an option. I'm just throwing that out on the table. If you do that, cool. If not, I don't know. But you know, just throwing that out there. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this. I'll show you guys my my rejections and what I got bodied some of them, but you know, it is what it is. All right, so Columbia, I got waitlisted. LECOM, they invited me for an interview, but at the time I don't know, I just didn't go. I can't explain it. Nova, for Nova, it was they sent me an interview. I was feeling kind of sick, and I was like, I might have the COVID because they were the only actual interview that was in person. So I don't know, I'm not sure why I had that. I don't know. But they rescheduled me from December 2nd to like February 14th or something like that, or February 2nd or something like that. And it was just kind of like, I already, you know, paid the deposit to Rutgers. I'm good to go. I'm happy. And honestly, at the end of the day, me going to Rutgers is cheaper than me going to Nova. So it was just a better option for me. LSU, I didn't hear a peep, like crickets. I didn't hear a peep. I have no ties to Louisiana, so that was kind of faulty on my end, but it is what it is. Midwestern, it was good. It's in Illinois. My mom lives in Chicago, but I declined the offer. They accepted me, but Rutgers was the better option. OSU is another school where they provide in-state tuition after the first year. So I didn't even get an interview. I didn't get anything from them. It is what it is. UF, I'm a little salty, but you know, it is what it is. You know, I think it was just the interview. It came down to the interview, and we'll talk about it during the interview workshop. But I don't know. I thought it went well, but they had me fumbling on a few questions. I was like, okay, that. Michigan, I didn't hear a squeak, a peep, nothing. Rutgers, when I had my interview for her, like Dr. Rosa, she just like, she went through my entire application and knew me like it was crazy. She went through my entire application, and like it wasn't you know, it wasn't like she was grilling me like with questions and stuff. She already knew like who I was. Like I was like, what the heck, what's going on here? And you know, she was really cool, really, you know, welcoming, inviting. I think the only question she really asked, because it was so conversational, was like why Rutgers. And when I said like diversity, you know, because I know Rutgers is really known for the diversity, I was just like, you know, like I think that really sold it. So that went really well. We'll talk about it in the workshop with her. UAB, received under review. I had a interview. It went well. I don't know what happened. Either way, if I got accepted to, you know, UAB, I would go to Rutgers. Detroit Mercy, they accepted me as well. They actually offered me a $15,000 a year scholarship, and then I declined it because it was still cheaper for me to go to Rutgers. And then they actually called me back later, like a month later, and then like they were like offering 30,000 a year instead. So it'd be 120,000 off like tuition. So I still declined because I don't know, I just didn't see myself in like Detroit at all. I have family in Jersey and New York, so that's kind of just like the better option for me. Kentucky, they will I think waitlisted me, and after that, I just kind of that was it. I would rather go to Rutgers. This was a kind of a shocker because my mom lives in Chicago, so they didn't even like consider me. I didn't get an application, not an application, but an interview. It was I don't know. It is what it is. This was like the only school. So I got waitlisted at UNC. This is another school that I would just definitely. It was between Rutgers and UNC for sure, and I got waitlisted here. And Stony Brook, I didn't hear a peep. So it is what it is. And yeah, that's pretty much it with this section here. So DAT. Also, another thing too. So I took my DAT the second time on August 20th. And they actually accepted it on September 3rd. So that's exactly 2 weeks later. So just a heads up, if you guys take the DAT and you guys already submit your application, just know they're not going to look at your actual application until this says accepted on whatever date, you know what I mean? So it's usually like 2 to 3 weeks, whatever, but mine specifically was exactly 2 weeks. So, and yeah, so that's pretty much it. Did we have any questions before we like progress onto part 2? Because yeah. Any questions? I'll read the chat really quick.
Go up on the check status real quick, or down actually my programs. Right. So I was gonna say, so here like they update this page pretty much. And then they have like different steps. I don't know if you can look it up.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Good point.
Like
so
interview, invited for an interview.
Yeah. So initially, when you first like pay whatever, it's gonna say usually none, and then it'll say received under review. It'll say this. It'll give you this prompt. And then once your application is like done being looked at, it'll say like application complete, or it'll say this received/application complete. That means like they kind of know what you're like, I don't know how to say that, but like basically where you stand like with them, I guess. So receive/application complete. And a lot of times, like I would just like update it. Like if I just click refresh, when you first submit, like it'll just like change and like you just see it. Like I was just like addicted to like just sitting here and just like refresh and I'd be like just sitting here. It's like it's really toxic. Don't do that. But yeah. So after that part, you'll see like interview, or I don't know. I don't have it here because all the interviews are done, but it'll say invited for interview. And if you don't go to the interview, you'll get this, withdrew before action. If you go to the interview, it'll usually come back as like received under review, or like application complete, and so on and so forth. So it just really depends. And then if you're waitlisted, you get waitlisted. If you decline the offer, you get offer declined. If you get denied, you get denied, application denied. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I have a question.
What's up?
For the people, for the schools that you had, like you didn't hear absolutely anything,
Mm-hmm.
do you still get the secondary application where you still have to pay the other fee?
Yeah.
Basically, hear from them to get your money.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I got scammed on. Basically, I got scammed on. I got scammed on LSU. They scammed me. I got scammed on Michigan. They scammed me. And Stony Brook, they scammed me. So yeah, that was a scam.
And when you get secondary applications and you submit them, does your AdSAS, like the under review part, change too, or nothing?
For the most part, no. I think they just kind of stay the same. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it depends, because sometimes they wouldn't look at the supplemental until like a few weeks after, so you wouldn't really know like whether it was like you submitting the application then, or like basically no, I guess would be the right answer. Like you just can't really tell. But yeah,
Thank you.
no problem, no problem. Also, I spent a total.
Don't tell us.
You guys ready for the big number? So I spent a total of. I don't even want to say it. I spent 2,700 here, so yeah, it definitely racks up. Also, one thing to note: the first school that you apply to, it doesn't matter if it's private, public, doesn't matter at all. Is this focused? Okay. It doesn't matter if it's private, public. It's the first school always costs $259, and then anything after that costs $112. So we can actually run through a quick application. I wanted to do that anyway. So let's just walk everyone through everything. So here, this is UOP. This is San Francisco University of Pacific Arthur. This is the 3-year school, I think. So we're just gonna add this. We'll just kind of like walk through the steps. So yeah, here it is. So you would just go, okay, let's just start from the top. So you add program, boom. And then it has a green check mark. Then you go to my application. Then you would go to programs materials or program materials. You click it. And this is it. You have like a little summary of what's going on here. They have a innovative Pacific dental helix curriculum. Okay, cool. Head, heart, hands. Nice, nice, nice. And you know, you go questions, you answer your questions. Cool. Okay. Friend, the homies. And you know, just I feel like this is kind of a trick question. You just want to put everything, like what interests you, just put everything. There's just no way. You know, and if you have other, then there's others, or whatever. But program, cool. So you would just answer the questions like you normally would, and up here you go to prerequisites. Let's continue. And they want English, communication, or speech. So let's just do the organic chemistry one. That's easier. So organic chemistry course, you just go from, this is all from what you inputted on your transcripts. So organic chemistry, you just add boom. You have organic 1 lab and organic 1 lecture. This is a mistake on my end. I actually didn't catch this before. So I have lab inputted twice. Obviously it's not an issue, but I mean, it's a little typo, but it is what it is. You know, everyone's human, I guess. And then organic chemistry lab. So after that, you would just save and exit. And boom, you're gonna have a check mark there. Everything's good to go for organic chemistry. And you would just do the same thing for everything else. So physics lab, good to go. For this English, communication, or speech, for me, if I was in this situation, because it's like a lot, I would put definitely ENC 1101, 1102, of course. So I'll add those in the mix. And then I have another communications course. This is nonverbal communication. I would just throw that in just in case. I don't know, because you just want to add. Yeah, in that case, I would just add it, just add them all. And you know, I also took. This is kind of out of date too because I switched my schedule around and stuff. So this professional technical writing I'm actually taking right now, but I would add this in the mix now as well. So this says fall 2020. I'm actually taking it now because I had to drop something else in fall 2020. So, but yeah, that would be it.
Right. So that's one of the questions they have. So if you're missing the requirement or you're doing it later on, you can input that. You can input like future semesters and
right. So okay, let's take a look at that. So that would be academic history. So transcript entry. All right. So let's just preview. Okay. So quick little FYI, I guess. So I was inputting these grades and all this stuff in June or May 2020. So I had not taken fall 2020 courses yet, right? I had not taken spring 2021 courses. So I had inputted these, you know, I inputted these because I was planning on taking them in the fall or whatever. So I didn't take these yet. But for intro to sociology, which is a lot of schools actually require, I know Michigan required it. So I would put, for Michigan, I would actually put this, that I was going to take it in fall 2020. So they can expect me to take it, but they can't expect a grade right now, if that makes sense, when they're looking at my application. We have to input the grades manually, or we send. So you have to input the grades manually, and then the send the transcripts. You also send the transcripts too, and then from the transcripts that you send, they actually verify it. So in this situation, you have here, so check status, and then you have transcripts here. So once it says arrived and like verified, there's another spot that says verified, but I'm not too sure where it is, but basically they basically preview your transcripts to make sure everything's good to go at the end of the day and just verify it. I'm not too sure where it says that, but it definitely happens.
For the AP credits, I think once you input all your transcripts and you put like all your classes and everything, and you click like verify, it asks you a couple questions, and it's like, did you take any AP courses? Or advanced placement test, and then it tells you to put it there. I think it's go scroll over quick.
Yeah, what's up?
It's in the
What are you looking for?
the entry. Click X. Click on the X right there on the entry. Yeah, it doesn't show. But yeah, when you click review and finalize my transcript, when you click on that, it'll pop up, and it'll tell you, have you taken any AP exams, or anything that gives you credit for something, a class or something like that, and then you would input that there.
And I think if you have transfer credits too from like MDC, I think you have to actually add those in. So I'm not too sure about like those steps because I just took everything at FIU, but
Right. So
I know you could like add
university.
in from different
Yeah.
universities or whatever. What were you saying?
Yeah. You have to add from whatever, because I went to BC, so I had some credits I transferred from BC. So I would, in the schools, colleges, and universities, I added BC. So on the tab up on top of transcript entry, on the left. Yeah. I added here. He just put FIU. I put BC and FIU, and then I added the classes I took at BC when I took them, and I also put that like for the classes for the applications for each school. If it said English, so I took like English, I took it at BC, so I inputted it. I checked it off of that school. So you have to do each school independently that you went to, each college.
Right. Okay, cool.
I
So yeah, go ahead.
So let's say if you're applying next term, like, and you start filling out the application now, I see how you have to fill out all the grades and everything like that. So would you have to do that over again if you're doing it for next term, but you start now to fill out the application?
I think if I'm not too sure, but I think it does reset. So I think right now, if you were to fill it out, this is technically for the 2020, 2021, cycle or whatever. So I think you would have to wait for that stuff specifically. But again, I'm not too sure. So yeah, this would be for the 2020 cycle, and then I think it does reset, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah. I think they reset it. So what you want to do is they open it, like the Idea Access website opens, like you can sign in, create an account and everything. They open it like around March, I think March 12th. And what you want to do is you just go in there, like make an account, go in and look at everything you need, and then make a Word document and start typing, like, write the name of the section and start typing it up and have it ready to go, so that when the cycle that you're applying to, the next upcoming cycle, is it March 12th? You know what I mean?
No, I think it's May 12th. May 12th. Well, I mean,
May?
this cycle specifically, this cycle was a little different for us because of COVID. But usually it opens May 2nd, a month before the actual cycle opens. So usually it's June 2nd, but we had an extra 10 days just because of COVID. So
Right. Yeah. So just open it up and look at everything you need and start typing it up in a Word document, so that you can just copy and paste it onto there. That applies for personal statement. Have everything ready, guys. Like, try to be ahead, because like the personal statement, I'm not gonna lie, it took me a minute. I left it for the last minute. Yeah, it's a lot of work, and you want to do everything ahead of time, like letters of recommendation, get them ahead. Make sure your professor has like tells you that, you know, because one of my professors told me like, yeah, I'll write you the letter. And then I contacted him and I was like, hey, I emailed him. I was like, hey, I'm applying. I emailed him early, like 6 months early. I'm applying. I need, you know, the letter. And then he didn't reply. And I messaged him like every month and he wasn't replying. So I had to find somebody else. So make sure that you keep in contact with the person that's going to give you the letter and that, you know, you have the people like sorted out who's going to give you the letter. Because once you're going to apply, you basically going to make a request through here, and then it's gonna send them an email, and they gotta submit your letter through there. Through the, it's gonna give them a link, and then they have to submit it through Access, the letter that they write you.
And that's also another thing I want to like mention that. So like you want to, I mean, I definitely recommend going through committee because you can just like open a file your freshman year and you just add in all the letters of rec over time. So like instead, like, you know, if you finish a fall course your freshman year and it's a non-science letter, let's say, you can just be like, hey, you know, can you write me a letter recommendation? Can you just send it to the pre-health office? Because you can't send it to ADSAS when you're a freshman because, you know, it's not even open at that time. I mean, she would have to keep submitting it because of resets. So if you just send it through committee, that's it. It's already in their file. You open a folder for I think like $65 or whatever. So you just open it there. You have it sent in. Bada bing, bada boom. They write it. They keep it in the file, and you're good to go. You know, if you, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. But yeah.
I had a question also about the letters of rec. Like, does the dating matter? Let's say you got a letter last year from a professor your junior year and you're applying 2 years later. Will that be a problem with the dating being, you know, like the year being like 2 years ago and things like that?
No, not at all. I mean, so you're saying so you got the letter of recommendation like 2 years ago and you're trying to submit it now?
No, I'm saying because I'm applying next term and I got a few letters of rec from end of 2020 and this year as well. So I'm just saying with the gap that I'm taking from obtaining the letter of rec before actually submitting it, I was just wondering if that time gap would be like of concern to them.
No, not at all. No, definitely not. As long as you have the letter rec and it's like within like, I don't know, 5 years, I think you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it doesn't affect you. Somebody was asking if you fail the class and took it again, do you have to add both grades?
I
Yeah,
think, yeah, you do. Yeah, I think
everything
I
that's in your
actually,
transcript you have to put on there.
yeah, everything exactly, because
It
they're
has
gonna
to look
check.
exactly how it looks on your transcript.
Yeah. I actually had a friend in that situation, but yeah, he asked like I think the pre-health office and they said, yeah, you have to input it twice. Really quick though, I can kind of show like how I asked for letters of rec. I have that too. We can do that really quick. Everyone can see my screen, right?
Guys,
Yeah, we got you.
the committee interview.
How was
Is
the
it-
committee interview? It was good. Yeah, it wasn't bad. It's like basically it was a good like mock interview, you know, especially because you're gonna have to be interviewing a lot when you know, in the cycle or whatever. It was definitely good, and they rate you, right? It's like recommended, highly recommended, most highly recommended, and then there's like a top one or something like that. But when I did, I think I got the one above average. I think it was like most highly recommended. But either one is really good. As long as you have committee, you're good. It shows that you know you did all the stuff required. And some schools actually, I wanted to mention this earlier, but some schools actually require the committee packet. Like University of Alabama, they require committee. Unless you know you were out of school for 5 years, but that's not the case in this case. You know. So this was me.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Do they show you like what you're rated as, or like, do they show you your committee packet or no?
They don't show you the packet, but after the interview, like immediately after, they take like 5 minutes or like two to 5 minutes, let's say, to just like kind of like discuss how the interview went and you know how highly they would recommend you. And then they tell you they take like a little break. It was through Zoom, obviously, but yeah, they just came back in the little Zoom session with me, and they were like, "Hey, you got this, so on and so forth, this rating," and yeah, that was it. But overall, though, the interview really wasn't bad. Though it was okay. So this was me begging for a letter of recommendation 3 years later, from a non-science because I needed a non-science. But still, at the end of the day, I was very proactive with it. You know, I was still, good to go. Can everyone see that? I don't know.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I was like, hey, I hope all is well since we last spoke. Since I took your class in 2019 or 2016, if it's okay, I was wondering if I could stop by your office for a few and converse a couple of matters along with receiving some advice. Please let me know if this is okay. Have a good weekend, so on and so forth. So this is good. She was like, yep, great to hear from you. And then we talked on the phone. Then I asked for the letter of recommendation, and that was that. Another instance, also just like keeping like a good note on yourself. You know what I mean? Like just like kind of like going in after a class is done, just like say thank you. You know, just like so he just remembers you, whatever. This was Dr. Boswell. He was marine biology. And I just want to say thank you for an amazing semester. Regardless of COVID-19, I still truly learned a lot from, have a great summer. My pleasure. Appreciate the kind words. Yada, yada, yada. And yeah, so, I didn't ask him for a letter rec, but, I could have, and I'm sure he would have wrote it for me. And same thing with Dr. Rodriguez. So this one, I just kind of like gave her a quick update again. And also I think it's better to like email them, every now and then rather than just like come like out of the blue and just be like, hey, can you write me a letter, right? Like, I think it's better to just like kind of slowly transition into that. Like, so this was like me kind of transitioning into it. I was like, hey, I'm currently studying for the biology portion in the GAT. Again, this is when I was retaking it, studying to retake it. And, I talked about microbiome and biochem and how it was like a breeze. And then, she was saying that it really motivates her to, that I, absorbed what we learned in class afterwards, you know what I mean? So that was cool. So yeah, that was just like letters of rec and stuff. But any more questions before we progress into the second part?
Somebody asked if the opinion is not the one you like, can you just not use it? The committee package? I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I think you can just like opt out of it. I think that's fine. The only thing is though, so if you had your letters of rec sent to the committee, you would have to ask the professors to actually submit it to AdSAS instead. And let me see, let me look at this. For evaluations, you would have to create a request. Why is like everything in the way? That's crazy. So here for me, obviously I can't do it, but you would just request for them to actually submit it, and then you would just have to do it that way.
Another question was if you what grade should one receive from the professor you're asking the letter of rec from?
I think an A and a B plus maybe. I think B plus to A range for sure.
I would say that you definitely want to aim for like
Yeah.
a high grade. But if it's something like that, kind of like you didn't do that grade. Let's say you have a B in that class, right? And from there on, you got A's, and your teacher wrote you a good letter of rec that you put in the work and you really learn how to study in that class. You can use that and say like, I use this class to learn how to study effectively, and from there on, I improve my grades, and it shows in my transcript like that, you know. And it
Makes
could be a
sense.
good letter as long as your teacher knows you. They know that they basically put in a good word for you, that he worked hard. He did earn a B, but he started off like rough, and he really made up for it at the end, stuff like that.
Yeah, I can actually add on to that too. So like for organic chemistry, I had James Quirk, Dr. Quirk, and his health wasn't like it was okay. You know what I mean? So I would actually like carry his boxes of just like papers, and I remember like one time like it was like a 40-pound box of papers, and I was like, Jesus Christ. And we had to bring it all the way to his car, and I really didn't mind at all. But the worst part though, it was just like we were sitting there like talking, and I was just like sitting there with like this box of papers, like 40 pounds. I'm just like sitting there like over time, like it really wears you down. I was like, dude, let me put this in the trunk. Like, but you know, like that shows. And I asked like the pre-health office, and they were saying like how he mentioned that, like he actually mentioned that I brought the papers to the car, like, you know, so that really goes a long way. Just like, you know, really good character and just like, you know, maturity. Just really goes a long way. So we're gonna just go over to the next section. Okay, guys, so I just want to like transition. So what we see was, you know, on the actual website from AdSAS, and then here I just downloaded. This is what someone would actually see. I see like this blue marker. I don't know what it is, but let's get rid of that.